Honorable participants from Army War College, thank you for having me. I'm Professor Dr. Karina Ochis, Ph.D., Dean Associate, Professor of Leadership, Management and Researcher at Monarch Business School Switzerland. As a next-generation leader, I'm the CEO at KO Sci-Fi Branding, President at the Elite Group, author, speaker, and executive consultant. I aim to be a transformative scholar across multiple fields and disciplines, a devoted dean and influential professor, an impactful consultant, and a tireless advocate for the future generations through my speeches, publications, interviews, and works. My academic and professional interests center around multi-generational management, leadership, business of the future, employee engagement, psychology, as well as performance and executive consulting. Today, as a guest of Professor Voravi, I wish to talk to you about conflict management, thinking and decision-making techniques. Conflict management is the practice of being able to identify and handle conflicts sensibly, fairly, and efficiently. It is the process of dealing with perceived or actual disagreements arising from, for example, diverging opinions, objectives, and needs. Every day you face battles. That is the reality for all creatures in their struggle to survive. But the greatest battle of all is with yourself, your weaknesses, your emotions, your lack of resolution in seeing things through to the end. You must declare unceasing war on yourself. As a warrior in life, you welcome combat and conflict as ways to prove yourself, to better your skills, to gain knowledge, confidence, and experience. Power has been initially discussed pertaining to rulers, the ruling elite and their advisors, being most preoccupied with attaining power and maintaining it. Three initial streams of literature about power have been identified in the domain, namely power as military strategy and conquering, power as political strategy, and power over the self. In antiquity, power was mainly associated with military strategy and tactics. In approximately 500 before Christ, Sun Tzu elaborated his treatise on power, a handbook for combat and achieving military triumph. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, focuses in his writings elaborated around 170 before Christ on a ruler's obligation to maintain power over oneself in accordance to Stoic philosophy. Inner strength is found in having power over one's mind, actions, words, and responses. It is only after mastering the self that a ruler may exercise outside power. Power has been a central issue in all discourse pertaining to ideology. Throughout time, power has been discussed mainly pertaining to ideology and the state. A notable addition to the literature has been made by David Lipsky and collaborators in 2003, who advocated alternative dispute resolution and conflict management systems based on their ample research. The conflict management system is linked with wider features of organizational strategy. Conflict management became perceived as a strategic prevention choice rather than a reactive activity. Prevent strategies arose in sets of environmental conditions that included growing global competition, increasing government regulation of workplaces, and declining unionization. Lipsky and collaborators insist that an authentic conflict management system is not merely a practice, but it is all-encompassing and incorporates practice, procedure, and policy. For the implementation of a strategic approach to conflict management, the following series of organizational conditions are required: a supportive organizational culture, strong commitment, from top management and the presence of champions of innovation, alternative dispute resolution. On the other hand, we must also tackle change and risk management in all organizations. Change management is a systematic approach to dealing with the transition or transformation of an organization's goals, processes, or technologies. The purpose of change management is to implement strategies for effecting change, controlling change, and helping people adapt to change. To be effective, the change management strategy must take into consideration how an adjustment or replacement will impact processes, systems, and employees within the organization. There must be a process for planning and testing change, communicating change, scheduling, and implementing change. And last but not least, documenting change and evaluating its effects. Documentation is a critical component of change management, not only to maintain an audit trail should a rollback become necessary, but also to ensure compliance with internal and external controls, including regulatory compliance. A central idea of all change management theories is that no change ever happens in isolation. In one way or another, change impacts the whole organization and all of the people in it. But with good change management, you can encourage everyone to adapt to and embrace your new way of working. Successful change management relies on 4 core principles: understand change, plan change, implement change, and communicate change. Principle 1, understand change. To successfully promote the benefits of the change, you need to understand them yourself. So think about why you need to change. What are your key objectives? What will the benefits of the change be to the organization? How will it impact people positively? How will it affect the way people work? What will people need to do successfully to achieve the change? It can also be helpful to think about the negative outcomes of not making the change. In order for the change to work, there has to be sufficient dissatisfaction with the status quo. But people also need to feel confident that the new approach will be better and that there's a clear route to get there. Principle 2, plan change. Effective change doesn't just happen by chance, and any plan you make has to be just right. The way the change projects are managed can vary from organization to organization. Some have very rigid change methodologies, while others are more open and flexible in their approach. Principle 3, implement change. So how exactly are you going to make this change happen? As you've seen, there are many different strategies that you can choose to put your change into practice. Principle 4, communicate change. Communication can be a make or break component of change management. The change that you want to implement has to be clear and relevant so people understand what you want them to do and why they need to do it. But you also have to set the right tone so that you get the emotional reaction you are hoping for. It's a good idea to link the changes that you're planning with the mission and vision statements. Not will this only help people see how the change positively impacts the bigger picture, but it will also provide them with an inspiring, shared version of the future. Also be sure to practice good stakeholder management. This will ensure that you give the right people the right message at the right time to get the support that you need for your project. Risk management encompasses the identification, analysis, and response to risk factors that form part of the life of any organization. Effective risk management means attempting to control as much as possible future outcomes by acting proactively rather than reactively. Therefore, effective risk management offers the potential to reduce both the possibility of a risk occurring and its potential impact. Risk management structures are tailored to do more than just point out existing risks. A good risk management structure should also calculate the uncertainties and predict their influence on an organization. Consequently, the result is a choice between accepting risks or rejecting them. Acceptance or rejection of risks is dependent on the tolerance level that an organization already has defined for itself. If an organization sets up risk management as a disciplined and continuous process for the purpose of identifying and resolving risks, then the risk management structures can be used to support other risk mitigation systems. They include planning, organization, cost control, and budgeting. In such a case, the organization will not usually experience many surprises because the focus is on productive and proactive risk management. Responses to risk usually takes one of the following forms. Avoidance. An organization strives to eliminate a particular risk by getting rid of its cause. Mitigation. Decreasing the projected financial value associated with the risk by lowering the possibility of the occurrence of the risk. Acceptance. In some cases, an organization may be forced to accept a risk. This option is possible if an entity develops contingencies to mitigate the impact of the risk, should it occur. Risk management is an important process because it empowers an organization with the necessary tools so that it can adequately identify and deal with potential risks. Once a risk has been identified, it is then easy to mitigate it. In addition, risk management provides an organization with a basis upon which it can undertake sound decision making. For an organization, assessment and management of risk is the best way to prepare for eventualities that may come in the way of progress and growth. When an organization evaluates its plan for handling potential threats and then develops structures to address them, it improves its odds of becoming a successful entity. Risk analysis is a qualitative problem-solving approach that uses various tools of assessment to work out and rank risks for the purpose of assessing and resolving them. Here is the risk analysis process. Identify existing risks. Assess the risks. Develop an appropriate response and develop preventive mechanisms for the identified risks. Last but not least, forget not that amidst the turmoil of events, do not lose your presence of mind. In the heat of life's battle, the mind tends to lose its balance. It is vital to keep your presence of mind maintaining your mental powers, whatever the circumstances. Make the mind tougher by exposing it to adversity. And finally, learn to detach yourself from any chaos. Thank you.